let's walk and talk. I got something that's preying on my mind. I'm cobbling together a video for today, so it's probably going to be, on different things at different times. I'm going to talk a little bit here and then cut this video, and then I'll start in on something else, and I'll put together one video for it. But this is something I really want to talk about that's really bothering me. Marina I've been thinking about this for a while, and Marina happened to mention it to me earlier today or yesterday. I guess it was yesterday. And she's exactly right about this. And I had been thinking about this before she said anything, but I wanted to relay it to you. There's something that's really bothering me with regard to American politicians, a lot of things, but this in particular that I want to talk about for a minute. I am sick and tired of potty mouth politicians, people who represent us in Congress, congressional representatives, senators that have a potty mouth, which they use on social media and in front of crowds when they speak, when they give a speech, and they just have these gutter mouths, and I'm tired of it. Now, let me clarify before I sound like a hypocrite, and I'll fess up here and I'll tell you the truth. I don't have the cleanest mouth on the block. I don't have the language of a monastic, for example. There are times where my aforementioned mother of yesterday's video, if she heard me, she'd probably send me to the bathroom with a bar of soap, if you know what I mean. I get it. There are times when I'm working by myself in my truck, in my trailer. I may bang my thumb on something and I may let her fly. I admit it. Here at home, sometimes, both Marina and myself, we may let one fly, if you know what I mean. But generally speaking, that's not how I talk. Pardon me. Generally speaking, that's not the language that I use. When I am in the workplace and I'm dealing with customers or I'm dealing with managers, I try to act professionally in the workplace, because that's just what you do. That is professional behavior, right? When I'm dealing with people anywhere, in a store or in a social situation, or wherever you may go, if I go to the tag office or wherever, I don't talk like a sailor. I don't talk like I'm in the Hells Angels or something. I have some decorum and some manners and some respect for the people with whom I am interacting, and respect for myself. And I'm not out there dropping F-bombs and using foul language in my interactions with people. Even here on the channel, I may let one fly every now and then, but I am talking about politicians who are elected to serve us in Congress, who get on social media and they're dropping F-bombs on social media, and it just grinds my gears to no end. It is uncalled for. It is unprofessional, it is vulgar, and it's just completely out of line. And I can give you a couple of examples. On X, Twitter, the congressman named Eric Swalwell, for example, out of California. He is constantly posting on X and dropping the F-bomb in all of his posts. He'll be talking about Donald Trump and F this and F that and F Trump and F this and F that. It's unbelievable and it is unacceptable. It's unseemly, it is vulgar, it is juvenile, it's from the gutter, and we should expect more from our elected politicians, that they conduct themselves in a professional manner. And I'd have to include Trump on this as well. I don't hear Trump in public dropping F-bombs, but I do see it from people like Eric Swalwell and the aforementioned in a previous video, Jasmine Crockett, who referred to Trump in a recent speech as an MFer. Give me a break. This is ridiculous. These potty-mouthed politicians, it's, as I say, it is unprofessional, but what these people need to understand that they so easily forget is they don't live on an island. They are not so isolated. They are not representing just themselves. If I were elected to Congress, what I would have to bear in mind is that I am representing thousands of people in my congressional district. I am speaking for them on their behalf. I am their voice in Congress. And I can promise you, no matter where I'm from, be it Alabama, Georgia, Texas, California, New York, not everybody in these particular congressional districts talks like that. And it's uncalled for. It's childish. It's vulgar. I have bemoaned the fact in the past that we have become such a vulgar country by and large, such a base culture by and large. I'm not trying to sound pious. I'm not trying to sound like a Pharisee. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I am guilty myself of some of the things, although I don't use language like this as a manner of course. But folks, this is uncalled for from a politician. I'm not a congressional representative. I'm not a senator. I don't necessarily represent anybody. I'm just one guy here down in Alabama. Even then, I don't feel like I need to go on. The only public place where my voice is heard is either in the workplace or here on my channel. And I don't want to degrade people and degrade myself by being so over the top vulgar. You know, one time when I was a kid, now my mother was, bless her heart, she was a very devout Pentecostal Christian woman. She loved God, she loved her husband, loved her sons, she loved everybody. She loved everybody. And I don't remember, we were at the dinner table one night. I don't remember what the topic of discussion was, but I used the phrase, get this now, I used the phrase, darn tootin'. You got it? I said, darn tootin'. And I got a look from my mother that would have melted an iceberg. She said, boy, you better watch that mouth. I love you, Mama. God bless you. Darn tootin'. Well, I never said darn tootin' again, not under my daddy's roof. Lord, heaven forbid had I said something worse than darn tootin'. I mean, kids these days use the worst language possible, which they hear from their parents. I'm not trying to sound preachy. I'm not trying to sound like I'm some bastion of morality out here. But I mean, for heaven's sakes, folks, should we not expect more from our elected representatives who are representing a wide swath of people from different backgrounds and beliefs? Could we not use a little more decorum? I can appreciate how Ronald Reagan conducted himself in public. He was professional. That's kind of like I'm not all that offended by Trump. Trump talks how he talks. But again, I don't see him talking like this. I don't see him going on Truth Social or Twitter dropping F-bombs, for heaven's sakes. This is what you do in the gutter. This is what you do in the urban centers. This is what you do in the hood. It's lazy. It's undisciplined. It's showing that you're not creative enough or intelligent enough to come up with acceptable terms to convey your point. Every now and then, if you want to flavor your language with an expletive, I can understand it. But I mean, for people like Eric Swalwell and Jasmine Crockett and on it goes, they can't complete a sentence without dropping an F-bomb, and I don't get it. I don't accept it. I think it's terrible. They need to clean up their mouth, as far as I'm concerned. We should expect more from our elected representatives. Don't you agree? All right, I have more to say here shortly. Oh, hi. I'm in the kitchen now. I'm all over the place, right? I had to come in here and make myself another big cup of coffee. I'm a coffee junkie, I admit it. I love coffee, and I'm working on my second pot of the day. Can you believe it? It's unreal. So I'm just kind of piecemealing a video together. I'm just talking as I go along here. I had noticed this morning, or yesterday morning, I guess it was. Well, I guess both, because I heard about it yesterday as well. But Trump is on his way to the Middle East. I don't know exactly what's going to come of this, but by the way, hey, like this sign. How do I take my coffee seriously? Very seriously. And this is Marina's favorite. Pretty funny, right? I have been reading that and hearing that Donald Trump has been giving the cold shoulder to Benjamin Netanyahu. And I think that's a really good thing. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. When you consider that most American federal politicians, as far as I'm concerned, are bought and paid for by the Israel lobby, to hear that Trump is giving Netanyahu the cold shoulder is a breath of fresh air, as far as I'm concerned. Why he would give the time of day to this genocidal maniac in the first place is beyond me. The guy who lives in a country that makes life hard for Christians, let's just put it that way. So I hope that's true. I hope it's very true. The ethnic cleansing of Gaza continues unabated, apparently. Of course, most American politicians are just either oblivious to this, I don't know how they could be, or they just don't give a damn about it. Maybe they're anti-Christian as well. Like a lot of people in America who say they are Christians, but they're cool with what Israel is doing to Christians in Gaza. I'm not cool with it. And Netanyahu is the one who is directly responsible for what is happening, not just to Christians, but to human beings, for heaven's sakes, folks. It is nothing, I didn't mean to get off on this, but here it is. It's nothing but an ethnic cleansing in Gaza. And as far as Christianity goes, some of our most historical sites, our most historical churches are in Palestine. This is the land of Christ, for heaven's sakes, and many of the early Christians. This just being completely decimated, and many of the people there who are descendants of the early Christians who have kept the faith given to them have been completely killed and wiped out by Netanyahu. And again, the Israel lobby is so powerful in Washington. They own so many of our politicians. It's just incredible. So if Trump is giving Netanyahu the cold shoulder, I consider that a win. And I hope it's true, and I hope it keeps being true, because that's good for people who want peace in that area of the world. I have also read that Putin and Zelensky are apparently, I don't know if it's true or not, but the news is apparently they are headed for a face-to-face meeting in Turkey. I've been saying, and I'll say again, that in the Russia-Ukraine war, Putin holds all the cards. I think by this point, Trump knows this. I don't know how he couldn't know this. I know Zelensky certainly knows this, and I think that Putin is content to play a waiting game. Now, look, I want this war over with. I want it done. I want any war done. But Putin holds the cards here, folks, and he is in the catbird seat, if you will. And I think that Putin is just holding out for an acceptable terms to end the war. He could wipe them out if he wanted to. I'm convinced of that. But again, in Ukraine, I'm a Christian, so I have special interest in what happens to Christians around the world. And again, Christians in Ukraine are facing persecution at the hands of Zelensky and his henchmen. And of course, as usual, we're on the wrong side of history in America with all of our money being sent to battle Putin in Ukraine. Had America never sent any money to this clown Zelensky, this thing would have been long over some time ago, but here we are. So hopefully we get a little more sanity from Trump on the Russia-Ukraine war. All right, I want to touch on this. Have you heard about this? This is unbelievable to me. It's the irony of this, and the hypocrisy is just rich. I read a headline this morning that Disney, the Disney Corporation, the Walt Disney Corporation, is planning on building a park in a country that imprisons gay people, and they're doing this after their pro-gay stance in 2020 in the Florida court battle. I don't know how many of you may remember this. This happened back in 2022. Let me read a little excerpt from this article for you. After opposing Florida's landmark 22 parental rights legislation because of the company's dedication to the LGBTQ community, Disney announced the construction of its next park in a Middle Eastern country that has criminalized homosexuality. The Walt Disney Company and Morale, Abu Dhabi's leading creator of immersive destinations and experiences, announced an agreement to create a landmark Disney theme park in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, the company said on Wednesday. Disney said this, and they continue. The waterfront resort will be located on Yas Island, a world-class destination for entertainment and leisure, blah, 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 blah. Now, the move comes nearly 3 years after the company had engaged in an all-out political battle. Do you remember this? That resulted in Disney's self-governing privileges being stripped by the Florida legislature and Governor Ron DeSantis, with the establishment of what is now known as the Central Florida Tourism Oversight Board. The original bill, called the Don't Say Gay bill by Democrats, the media, and Disney, banned sexually explicit instructions for young students in school. Those provisions were eventually expanded. Hold that thought and listen to this. Disney said this: our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts, and we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that. We are dedicated to standing up for the rights and safety of LGBTQ plus members of the Disney family, as well as the LGBTQ plus community in Florida and across the country, Disney said back in 2022. But now, Disney will construct a park and resort in the United Arab Emirates, which, according to multiple sources, has criminalized homosexual behavior. Violators can be imprisoned. Christina Pushal is a member of Ron DeSantis' team, and she said, I heard Abu Dhabi has some pretty strict don't say gay laws. Disney, which sued DeSantis over a don't say gay bill which merely bans sex instruction for kindergartners to third graders, announced today it will build a new theme park in Abu Dhabi where gay people can be beheaded, said Clay Travis, the founder of Outkick. will ESPN have protest over this decision? ESPN, of course, is owned by Disney. Another user on X said Disney is now building a theme park in a country that beheads people for being gay. Now, I remember this back in 2022, and you may as well. And the outrage of it all that DeSantis had to reply to. Folks, think about this a minute. Imagine that you have a kindergartner or a first or second grader, a child who is a first or second grader, or in kindergarten, for heaven's sakes, and they are being taught provocative things with particular regard to human sexuality. I mean, can you imagine how you would feel if you had a child being taught that young, being taught this kind of stuff at that age? When I was in first grade, I didn't know beans, nor did I need to know beans about anything to do with sexuality. I wasn't curious. Nothing had even occurred to me yet. I was using an abacus, for heaven's sakes. I was just trying to learn my ABCs and my 1, 2, 3s and Dick and Jane and Spot. You remember that? The idea that we would put this kind of material in the minds of such a young child, an innocent child, is outrageous. And to be honest with you, the whole idea, I've talked with Marina about this before and she agrees with me, the whole idea that at any point in your education, you need to have sex education, to me is just stupid anyway. I mean, for heaven's sakes, what did we do before we had sex education in our schools at any level, at any grade? Do you think we just couldn't figure out how to procreate before we had sex education? I mean, can I just be blunt? You put a couple of people in the sack naked, I think they can figure it out, right? The whole notion, and I would never want any of my children to receive instruction in human, unless it's just basic biology, but this stuff they were teaching in Florida, which was infused with the philosophy and the mentality of the I can never get this right. How do you say it? LBTQJGXYZ movement, and their overriding philosophy that basically anything goes. There's no restraint. There's no concept of morality attached to the topic of sexuality, which is a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. And so DeSantis, rightfully as governor of the state of Florida, responded to this nonsense. It was backed by Disney of all people, of all corporations. Walt Disney would flip over in his grave if he had any idea what had happened to his company. You know, when I was a kid, you could watch, Disney, every Sunday night, The Wonderful World of Disney would come on. It was harmless. It was good, clean fun. There was no agenda attached to it. Certainly no sexual agenda attached to it. The audience was for children. Minnie and Mickey and Donald Duck and Woody Woodpecker and all these characters. You didn't need this agenda for children. Precious children don't need to be hearing this kind of jazz. I never cared about this when I was a kid. Kids don't care about this kind of stuff. They haven't even reached puberty yet, and you're ramming this crap down their throats that they have no interest in and no need of understanding yet. Particularly if the agenda is coming from these sexual deviants, if you ask me. These people who see no problem with adult males having sexual relationships with young boys. I'm sorry, folks, that's a bridge too far for me, and it goes on and on and on. They try and pass deviant behavior across as normal behavior. It is not. I'm sorry, but I'm a traditionalist and I'm not going to apologize for this. But I just am struck by the utter hypocrisy of the Disney Corporation, who was ramming all of this deviant, sexualized curriculum down the throats of innocent children. And they were stopped, thank God, by Ron DeSantis in the Florida legislature. And now Disney is going to build a theme park in the United Arab Emirates where reportedly homosexual behavior is criminalized, and you can actually have your head lopped off for engaging in it. Did Disney miss that part of it? Or could it be that they're just seeing dollar signs? Whatever the case, it is nothing but abject hypocrisy on the part of the Disney Corporation. I'm telling you, I got no use for Disney anymore. I've been to Disney World a few times, but now, I mean, you pretty much got to win the lottery to go. I don't know how people afford it. You have to sell your house to go now. If you want to experience true misery, go to Walt Disney World in Orlando in the middle of July and let me know how much fun you had. Don't go to Florida anywhere in July unless it's maybe at the beach, but you still better take your shades at least. If it's the summer, give me the mountains so I can cool off. All right, anyway, this may be the end of this particular video. It is the end of this particular video. I don't know if I'm going to be adding anything because I may be way over on time. I don't know. Not that I have any constraints on time, but that's probably enough for one day anyway. All right, anyway, give me your comments down below. Love to hear from you. Give me a thumbs up on the video, please. I would appreciate that. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you soon.